In this video, we're going to be talking about using drywall hooks, aka monkey hooks, aka whatever somebody wants to call them to sell them, and why they might be a better alternative for your needs than, say, drywall anchors or maybe even command strips. I'll make sure that I have some timestamps in the description below if you want to go ahead and jump to a part of the video, like how to actually install these. But just to give you a brief overview, these can be called different things, and I'll put a link in the bottom of the video to an Amazon site where you can actually buy some of these. But sometimes they're called monkey hooks, sometimes they're called drywall hooks. Really just depends on the manufacturer and who you're trying to get them from. The general premise behind them though is the same. You have the hook like this. What you're going to do is you're going to use this end, and if you can tell from the view, it actually is a little bit indented, but you're going to use this to poke through the drywall like this, and then you'll work it so that it's then vertical, and eventually only this part right here will be visible outside the wall, and you can hang your hook right on that. Some manufacturers claim that these can hold up to 25 pounds, 50 pounds. We're not gonna test that today because I don't wanna have to patch drywall. So take that for what you will. I wouldn't put 25 or 50 pounds on one of these things, but that is up to you, and that's between you and the manufacturer if you decide that you want to do that. So here before us, we have all the items we will need to hang these monkey hooks. We are in the kitchen, and to show you, without showing you our house, this is where the monkey hook will hang. You will notice I have already cheated and installed this monkey hook, but that's beside the point. Going back to this, the materials that you will need to install monkey hooks, you will need definitely a level, you will need a pin, a tape measure, of course a monkey hook itself, and the actual sign or the item that you will be hanging. Now, up for debate is whether or not you'll need a stud finder. I have no luck with stud finders at all. So for me, I don't use stud finders. I just kind of run the tables and see how it turns out. But if you feel lucky and if you think you need some extra insurance to make sure that you're finding an open spot in the drywall for this monkey hook, a stud finder is probably going to be your best friend. So this would be a great time to phone a friend if you have a friend, but you want to actually mark where this item will hang on the wall. You're going to want to make sure that it's level. So you're going to go ahead, you're going to position this item roughly where you want it. This is where a tape measure might come in handy if you're trying to center it up. But what I like to do is I do like to make sure that I have this level. If you only have one hanger on the back, you don't have to do this step, but if you have multiple hangers where you might be using 2 or 3 of the drywall hooks, you will want to make sure that you establish the level surface to begin with. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your level. Mine has authentic battle damage, mortar and drywall mud from other projects, but you're going to want to put it on top of this item and pin it against the wall. And this is where having a friend would come in handy, because you'll now want to trace a line to mark where level is so that you can now install your monkey hook. So one thing you will need to notice about the monkey hook itself is that this part right here, where your hanger on the back of your item will hang, is actually lower than the top. So when you go to mark level on your wall, you'll want to take into account this dip. It's about 1/2 inch on the monkey hook that I'm using. So you'll want to mark your level line, and then you'll want to come down about 1/2 inch and then put your actual mark to install the monkey hook. Now, if you have luck with stud finders, this is where you might want to go ahead and check to make sure that you're not going to be hitting a stud. If you do have a stud where you want to hang the item, the monkey hook is not the correct solution. The drywall hook is not the correct solution. You will want to use something like a screw itself or a nail and just go directly into that stud. But assuming that after you've tested the wall with the stud finder and it's come up as no stud where you want to put that hanger, then this drywall hook is the correct tool for what you need. What I will tell you is, once again, I have no luck with stud finders, so you can try the old, knock the wall and try to find a hollow spot trick to nail it down, but I've been unsuccessful with that in the past. So all that to say, your main goal is going to be to make sure that there's nothing behind this wall. You want an open spot to be able to push the drywall anchor through. So just for you, YouTube, I'm trying to actually put another hole in my wall. I am right-handed, so I'm using my right hand to just push through. And sometimes, if I'm being honest, I might have to use both hands. I'm not in as good a shape as I used to be, but I can feel it giving a little bit. So Once again, if you're using both hands, this is gonna be a lot easier than what I'm making it look, but you can tell as I pushed in, it now has went through the drywall. It's on the other side. So we're gonna push it flush like this, right? And then we're going to begin pulling it down. It's gonna rotate behind the drywall, and next thing you know, you're going to have your drywall hook installed. You might have some concerns about this hole being as close to this other hole. I've not found this to be a problem. I believe that's because the way the drywall hook works, it's actually tapping into the drywall above it. So having the holes this close together for me has not been a problem in the past. Don't tell my wife I put a second hole in her kitchen wall. That might not go over well. So then the final step is simply to hang the sign or the item that you want to hang. You can play around with it and get it as level as you want it to be. And I'm having problems, mostly because I'm trying to film at the same time. But as you can see, this item's hung on the wall and it's not going to go anywhere. So why would you consider using a drywall hook instead of, say, command strips? Well, I had some commenters on my command strip video raise some very good concerns over some of the walls that they have. You know, you might not have finished painted drywall that you're working with. It could be something like paneling. It could be something like wallpaper with the finish. So all that to say, this hook might be a better option for those surfaces where you wouldn't have to worry so much about the command strips possibly peeling your paint, peeling your wallpaper, something like that. One downside I will say to the hooks is it does mean that you're going to have to put a hole in your wall. So you can probably make it out from the camera, but it is a very small hole that you would be putting in there. But you would still be having to do it. What I would say is you're actually going to be putting in a much smaller hole than if you put in a screw or a actual drywall anchor itself. So that is one of the upsides that you would have to using something like this, is you're going to be putting in a very small hole. So that's the video. Thanks for tuning in. I've tried standing up. You can see some of my nerdy Funko Pops over there. But if you have any questions, as always, leave a comment down below and I'll do my best to respond to them. And as always, thank you for tuning in. Let's go check on that monkey hook I just installed. Let's see. Oh, well, hello there.